Let's read that together. Make allowance for each other's faults. In other words, give grace. Extend the grace we want to receive. God has given us grace. And then God gave us grace and we don't want to extend grace. Keep on, please. And forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Faults right there. So the idea, and then future, I want to give us two more F's, this one and two more. Future. What leads to our midnight experience? Sometimes our future. What are we talking about right here? Sometimes our biggest fear is the future. Our future. We know what it was like in the past, but we are so concerned about what the future is that sometimes we start romanticizing the past. And this whole idea about going back to the good old days, I don't know when it was so good. The idea that the better days are before us, not behind us. The better days are always before us and not behind us. I say the better days are always before us and not behind us. The better days are always before us and not behind us. The better days are always before us and not behind us. And so many times, even the Hebrew children, think about this. They were enslaved for 400 years. They get out of slavery 3 days after getting out of slavery. They tell me, I wish I was back. Because they were uncertain about what the future held. They would rather go back in the bondage they got out of than going back and embracing the wonderful future God has for us. So sometimes this future is over. Now, please, you got to read this right here. I don't know what my future holds, but I do know who holds my future. Isn't that good? God is the one who holds our future. I'm telling you, our future is always better than our past. So you know this from Jeremiah 29:11. Let's read that together. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. God says, I got some plans already from the beginning of time. I got some plans to prosper you. I got plans not to harm you. I got plans to give you a hope and a wonderful future like you've never seen before. Anybody ready to embrace the hope and the future God has for you? It's about saying that God has, so God says, don't be concerned about the future, because I got it. I just need you to trust me and believe in me and rely on me and know I've already worked it out. I don't need you to worry. I just need you to trust. I don't need you to focus on trouble. I just need you to trust. And God says, I already know the plans I have for you. I have plans that you don't even know about to prosper you. I got plans you don't even know about to go back and give you a hope and a future. Do not get so worked up and allow the future to lead to a midnight experience. Now, okay, I got this one and got one more. Is faithlessness will lead to midnight experiences. Faithlessness will lead to midnight experiences. What does that mean? That when we don't have faith in God, then we start putting our faith in something else or somebody else. And it will always lead to a midnight experience. Can somebody say amen to that? Amen. It is about, so faith, so this right here. So faithless is the one that says farewell when the road darkens. In other words, when things don't work out, some people just bail. Yeah. When it doesn't look good, folks just bail. That's somebody that has faithlessness. Now the question I raised before now was, what leads to our midnight experiences? What was the first one we had? Fear. Next one we had failure. Next one we had faults. Next one we had future. Next one we had now I got to give you one more that will lead us to a midnight experience. What leads us to have a midnight experience? Watch this next one right here. Faithfulness. Sometimes it's not just about not following God. Sometimes following God will lead us to a midnight experience. We're going to see Paul and Silas in our text today. Paul and Silas didn't do anything wrong. They followed the Lord. They got put in jail. But at midnight, they did some things and got set free. Yes. Jesus didn't do anything wrong but love us. And had a midnight experience that died on a cross. So that from 12 o'clock till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when it should have been shining brightly, the sun refused to shine as the Son of God died on the cross for your sins and my sins. His faithfulness put him on the cross. So don't reduce your trust in the thinking that just because you're doing what God called you to do, everything's going to be smooth. Don't believe it just because. Now pray, when you're following the path, here's what God says: I will never leave you, I will never forsake you. I am with you in the valley, and I am with you in the trouble, and I am with you. But God never promised you would not go in the fiery furnace. He said, I'll be in there with you. He never promised you would not go into the belly of a whale, but I'll be in there with you. He didn't say you would not go into the problem, but I'm going to be right there with you. So the idea was, so sometimes our faithfulness, so full of faith, and following God, sometimes even following God may lead us to, we'll see in just a moment, a midnight experience. Please read this right here. To trust God in the light is nothing, but to trust Him in the dark, now that's faith. In the back and have faith when you got a little something in your pocket. Or now you got some lint, you got some bills due, there's some traces that's here right there. I got to believe God what God has already promised in His Word. Sorrow looks back, worry looks around, but faith always looks up. I stretch my hand to Thee, O Lord. No other help I know. If You withdraw Your hand from me, where else will I go? My faith looks up. I'm not going to keep focusing looking around and looking down. I'm going to look up because faith always encourages me to go up and grow up. So please read this last one right here. Man says, show me, and I'll trust you. God says, trust me, and I'll show you. Please write that down from Psalm 126. Man says, if you show me, I'll trust you. God says, no, I need you to trust me. Then I'll show you. When you trust me, you get in a position to receive. When you trust me, you can see what I've already made available. When you trust me, you'll know what I've already done by the power of and the blood of my Son, Jesus. Man says, show me, I'll trust you. God says, trust me and I'll show you. So now the question was we asked, we have the midnight experience. So here's the point. In the midnight experience, don't give up. In the midnight experience, don't give in. In the midnight experience, don't give out. Please give God a hand out of praise. You are decided right now. In those midnight experiences, you're not going to give up, not going to give in, not going to give out. For every dark night, there's a brighter day. But look right here now. Stars can't shine without darkness. It happened. On a sunny day, you can't see a star. So then God said in the midst of that, I have already called you. I've already created you. You are already a star. You're already saved. And at this point, you're already triumphant. You're already abundant. You're already redeemed. And I need in the midst of some darkness for somebody to know that I'm with you. And so in the midst of darkness, I still need you to shine. Don't stop shining in darkness. That's when it's time to shine. Don't let your light go out in darkness. That's when it's time to let it shine brighter. Already saved, already triumphant, already anointed, already redeemed. They cannot shine without the darkness. The light shines brightest in the darkest places. Now this is where, let's stay here for a moment. Because some of us have some work situations and some home situations and some community situations that are just jacked. And you're wondering why I'm over here. Well, it doesn't do any good to send your light to other light to have more light. Light is needed in the darkness. Amen. Flower. I said light is needed in the darkness. Amen. We can't get so consumed with what we're going through and where we are that we let the light, our light start diminishing because we're in the darkness. That's when it shine brighter because God has sent us and God has called us and God has ordained us to be where there is darkness, so that some light can be seen. Oh, please give God a hand clap of praise. And listen to this. The light shines brightest in dark places. So I want to go back and talk about, so every week we've had a spiritual principle. And I want to go back in and talk about our spiritual principle that we have right now in the midst of all that occurred from the standpoint of our message. Every week that goes, we've had 5 Sundays. This is our 5th Sunday. Every word has started with a B. So let me give it, and then we'll read our scripture from Acts chapter 16 in just a moment. But here's our spiritual principle here. Despite what is binding us, here's the question. How are our bands loosed for us to experience breakthrough? That's the question. That's our question right here. That's our spiritual principle. Despite what is binding us, what's holding us, what's constricting us, this is the real part right here. How are our bands loosed so we can experience breakthrough? If sometimes fear has bound us, and sometimes our thoughts have bound us, and sometimes the future has bound us, and sometimes our flaws have bound us, despite being bound, the question is, what is it, according to the word, we can do to have our bands loosed and then in turn experience breakthrough? Anybody ready to have your bands loosed and experience breakthrough? I said, anybody ready to have your bands loosed? And I said, anybody ready to have your bands loosed and experience breakthrough? Well, we have it all laid out in the Word today as we go back and take a look at this. But I want to talk about, so what we want to talk about? In order to make sure we have had our bands loosed and then also experience breakthrough, we're going to have to be disciplined enough to do what Paul and Silas did when they had their midnight. If I want what somebody else has, I got to do what they did. So what did they do so that their bands were loosed and also at that point they experienced breakthrough? And so I want to go back and give us our last two definitions of discipline and say when we apply these to what they did, we too can position ourselves to have bands loosed and breakthrough. So we've spent some time, I've asked you all month long to write down the word discipline. I just want to go through those quickly, and I want to give us our and our E today that we haven't had before. So we look at the word discipline. The Greek definition we talk about from discipline, first of all, development to reach full potential. So we always think about discipline as being like negative and punishment, but really from the word, from the Greek, discipline, first of all, means development to realize full potential. And we gave this example right here with somebody trying to teach how to ride a bike. And again, I told you, this picture is so wrong. No parent starts off smiling like that when they got to take their kid learning how to ride. That's what it looked like. We working all hard, sweating like a little. And they want to wait till noon when it's all hot to want to go out there. And they're not even caring. They just walk around looking at little grasshoppers. And then, this is what it ends up being for real. But at some point, this kid will eventually end up getting here. Because why? Because we worked hard enough to make sure they were developed to reach their full potential. So in the midst of all of our tears, in the midst of all of our trouble, in the midst of all of our trials, what God is doing is developing us to reach our full potential. We don't know how strong we are until all these situations come in. In other words, you're not going to build your physical muscle lifting 2 pounds. Muscle gets lifted, gets built up when you start lifting more weight. And God said, at this point, I will never leave you. I'll never forsake you. In the midst of it, I just want you to develop to reach your full potential. The idea that read that with me again. Instruction to increase virtue. In other words, instruction, God gives us instruction to increase uprightness. So we talked about that already. S was simply what? Self-control. Oh, Lord Jesus, that's a whole series right there. Self-control. Self-control. There are people who cannot go to the store with money in their pocket and then go back home with it because of lack of self-control. There are folk that start a diet the first of every month, and by the 15th, by the second, have blown it because of lack of self-control. So let's be very clear. So now I'm not being critical. Now at some point, all of us have demonstrated lack of self-control. Be clear. I told you, I was never intending to live a life of always being on South Beach diet. South Beach diet means you don't have any carbs at all. This was like 12 years ago. I was going to go and get ready for a basketball game, and for 2 weeks, I agreed that 12 years later, I'm still eating like a rabbit. Yeah, I did. At some point, and so let's be clear. I want you to know that so self-control, there are portions of our lives that always have opportunities for us to examine if we have lack self-control. And I told you that because she's not going to tell you. I told you all we'd be going back in here for Miss Neal's birthday a few weeks ago, and got this nice cake from Costco, and we had finished Zumba. Now I want you to imagine this. We had Zumba, have sweated through 3 or 4 layers, and so I can't find my wife. Where's where's she going? You not see my wife. So I go into the kitchen. Girl, she got not the little bitty baby spoon, a big spoon, cream filling all in her mouth, looking like she got a mustache. And I had to have a little piece like this. And like that. So the idea, so self-control. So the idea is there are always times. There will be times where our self-control will be challenged. Ain't that right? And here's the point. A Twinkie may not do it for you, but for other folk, mess you up. A moon pie won't do it for a moon pie. Take some other folk out. The idea was there's something, and so discipline says I have to demonstrate this self-control. Please read this right here. Self-control says what? I'm choosing to do what's right. when I feel like going. You know we feel like going wrong. You know that. So that is self-control. The C was being equipped in correction. Spend this time talking about I stand correctly. That whenever we stand, we're corrected. We stand correctly. And we're standing for the Lord. And